Hey, everybody, and welcome back. So, Bernie Sanders is calling out Elon Musk, and he's making actually some really good points. Now, I can already hear those keyboards going 1,000 miles a minute, going socialist, Marxist, radical left, communist. You're not going to own anything. Like I've heard it all, and like except for that last part, you're not going to own anything at all. Put a pin on that one. We're going to discuss, and that's really relative to what he's asking. But anyways, just give me a minute. Let him speak. Let him post his question, and I think you're going to understand where he's coming from, where a lot of people are coming from. So before you start posting those comments, let's take a listen. Afterwards, if you still feel the same way, by all means, flood the comment section with whatever you want. All right. So let's take a listen and we'll discuss.
Hello, Elon Musk. This is Senator Bernie Sanders. I was delighted to hear that through the rapid advancement in artificial intelligence and robotics that you are funding, you will be bringing about utopia to the world. You have told us that poverty will be wiped out, work will be optional, there will be universal high income, and that everyone will have the best medical care, food, home, transport, and everything else. That is wonderful news. I just have a couple of questions. How will this utopia come about? If young people can't find the entry-level jobs that used to exist and they are unemployed without income, when are they going to get the free housing you talk about? If manufacturing workers lose their jobs because robots take their place, when are they going to get the free health care you promise? If a young nurse with kids loses her job, how is she going to get the food she needs to feed her family? I look forward to hearing about how you and your other oligarch friends are going to provide working people with a magnificent life that you promise. Because let's not forget, Donald Trump, the guy you got elected, is kicking 15 million people off their health care, doubling insurance premiums for more than 20 million, and is making massive cuts to nutrition assistance and education for kids across the country. With that track record, I can't wait to hear how your plan to provide universal high income for every American is going to be implemented. Have a nice day.
So he makes really good points. How are we going to get into this utopia or transition to the utopia? Because the issue is not AI, if it's going to do it, it's not going to do it. It's going to do it, okay? At the end of the day, it's going to do it. The argument now is how fast is it going to be able to take over? Some say 40, 50 years. Some say 10 years, less, whatever. But me, I believe it's going to be sooner than later. But it's going to happen. But again, even on the shortest time frame, the transition, say 10 years, that's a long time. What are they doing to usher in this utopia era? How are they going to take care of the people who are not going to be able to work? Like you said, jobs are going to be replaced. So somebody's been working for a company or in an industry in their 40s, 50s. They have a better chance of surviving because they've got some sort of income and they're hopefully within a home that they own or whatever. But even then, that is non-existent, especially in the U.S. How are they going to maintain that lifestyle? Because you're still going to need money. Young generation that are coming out of school with huge amounts of school debt because the Republicans are not forgiving the school debt, not making any attempt to forgive school debts. So you're coming into a world with huge amounts of school debts, studied, learned an industry that no longer exists because there's no more jobs. How are you going to pay your student debts, your loan? How are you going to be able to get a home that still requires money? Not being built by robots yet. Healthcare. Healthcare is being taken away. Here in Canada, we have healthcare not tied to our work. In the US, you lose your job, you lost your healthcare. You can buy personal healthcare, but no one does because it's just astronomical. So how are you going to take care of that? They're taking, I don't know how many millions of people off Medicare or Yes, Medicare or Medicaid. Actually, they're cutting both. They're cutting Medicare down, and they're also cutting the Medicaid programs as well, which is also going to throw millions of people off Medicaid, and they will no longer be covered. On top of the ACA, premiums are going to double. There's no plan to keep it low. Food. Automate farms. That's great. But once it goes to the companies who supply the food, who makes the food and everything else, it's only owned by like a handful of corporations. Food costs is through the roof, even though the efficiency of growing food is never been higher throughout human history. Yet it's very expensive. So how are we going to transition? How are we going to give food to those people that no longer work? That no longer work, don't have health care and everything else. How is that transition going to be? Again, Elon Musk, and I'm not just, picking on him. There's everybody in the AI industry are at fault here. Elon Musk was the head of DOGE, Department of Government Efficiency. He himself has many times talked about how the current budget, deficit, and debt that the US government has is not sustainable, that it would bring down society, that would destroy America. But if he truly believed in this utopia, he would say, who gives a shit? Rack more debt, because at the end of the day, that debt will mean nothing once AI and robots take over. You won't need it anymore. Or it'll be so efficient that it will take care of it. Yet, he was ahead of Doge, cuts programs, SNAP, everything else that helped the poor and working class. You can't have it both ways. Say we can't sustain this spending, and say at the same time too that AI is going to solve all our problems and we won't need currency in the form as we have it right now. Even if we get to this utopia and everything's going to be cheap to make, very efficient, what do you think the people who have control are going to do? They're going to adjust the dial. No different than what the oil companies do, because everybody knows we have enough oil to production, everything else, to meet above and beyond the demand that we have right now. But OPEC, Canada, US, Venezuela, Iraq, everybody, they adjust the output to make sure it goes up or up or down, depending on what's going on in the world. And then the excuses of war and everything else. But we can produce more than what we need. We have the capability, the infrastructure, and everything else. But they slowly close the wells when they find it's too low and they're not making enough money. What do you think they're going to do with AI? They're going to control the economy because only a handful of people are going to have control of the resources. Remember what I talked about, like putting a pin in on will not own anything? Like this is everything from on the right. Talk about how the left and Republican, or how the Democrats will create a society that you will own nothing. This is what utopia is. This is Elon Musk. He's not a Democrat. He helped Donald Trump win the election. And he's talking about a utopia where you will own nothing. It was never the Democrats that were going to do this. It was always the Republicans. You own nothing. You work forever. And you're a slave, modern day slave, to the corporations. It's funny how it's always projection on their side. Whenever they accuse the left of something, just know that's what they want to do. And this is an example. You guys will own nothing. And you will not have the ability to own anything because AI will have taken all the jobs and your ability to earn money. And the only way you're getting money, if this universal basic income comes in, is reliant on the government to give it to you and how much they're going to give to you. So that's going to be them, not the Democrats. So if this was true and he truly believed this, all those other CEOs truly believe this, like they talk about 3 days a week working, you won't need to work 5 days a week. How are you going to compensate for the loss? How are you going to compensate for people coming into the market? Healthcare. They should be providing healthcare to everybody right now to show that we're going to be transitioning to this new society. And they haven't done nothing but cut back. So it's all BS. They have no intentions of doing any of this. And Bernie Sanders is right. He's not going to answer it. He's going to call him a socialist, a Marxist, and will not address the simple, logical questions that Bernie Sanders has put to him, that everybody I know out there are also concerned about. But let's see what happens. I'm not going to hold my breath on this one. Anyways, guys, that's it for me. Take care. We'll talk later.